Okay, welcome back. So in the last video, we covered how to find slope. In this video, we're going to continue kind of the idea, but we're going to take it a step further and actually start looking at what's called slope-intercept form. Okay, this is getting into equations, how you could graph a line on a graph. Okay, now what's standardly taught in all algebra classes is what's called slope-intercept form. Okay, it's made up of two parts, a slope and a y-intercept. Okay, now in the last video I said, remember that your slope equal m. Here's where it comes into play, right? So there's y. You have y equals mx plus b. Remember, this is your slope, right? And that's how we, there's two different ways, graphically and algebraically, that you can find that. And then this is what's known as your y-intercept. Okay, it's where the graph, the line of your graph crosses the y-axis. Okay, so a lot of these problems you're going to be asked, you're going to be given 2 bits of information, and you're going to have to find the equation of your graph, right? So it says write the slope-intercept form equation given the following, right? So slope of 1/3, y-intercept of -2. So these questions are pretty simple, right? Slope, remember, this is your m and this is your b. So you just say y equals 1/3 x minus or plus a -2, right? Now, when you say plus a negative, right, you can rewrite this as y equals 1/3 x minus 2. Okay. What if they give you negatives? That's okay. So this is your m, this is your b. So you have y equals -2/5 x plus 0. Now, sometimes they might do this. This equation, the graph of this equation would go through the origin, right? They'd go through 0, 0. So you can write it like this, every time. You might also see this as y equals -2/5 x, right? If you don't see anything, you come across an equation and there's no plus or minus some number, then obviously the intercept is at 0 and it went through the origin. Okay. Find the slope-intercept form equation given the following. Now, this time it kind of ties in what we covered in the slope video with what we're doing today in this video. So you know that this is my x1, y1, x2, y2. And so first you need to find the slope, right? So remember from the last video, that was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? So we have our labels, have our equation, let's plug in. So you say 12 minus 6 equals, or over 9 minus 2, right? So we go 12 minus 6, which is 6, 9 minus 2, which is 7. So our slope is 6/7. Okay, now given the following, all right, so now we need to pick one of the 2 points. It doesn't matter, right? And we're going to use what's called the point slope form. Okay, so unlike the slope-intercept form, there's another form that you probably remember covering in your algebra classes, and what's called point slope form. Point slope form, meaning that you're given a point and a slope and you can find an equation. Okay, that formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, right? Where x and y are your point and m is your slope. Remember, this is my m. So I'm going to use, it's y1 and x1, so I use those 2 points. So we have y minus 6 equals 6/7 times x minus 2, right? I distribute my 6/7, so I have y minus 6 equals 6/7 x minus 12/7, right? And then you can add 6. Now, if all this multiplying by a number by a fraction is confusing, please use a calculator, right? I'll kind of assume if you're in college algebra now, you know how to take just a constant number times a fraction, right? Now, adding these, if you add these together, you should get y equals 6/7 x. Well, let's, if we add those, this would be -12/7 plus 42/7. If you add those, you should get plus 37s, okay? That's some pretty hardcore pre-algebra right there. So if you have any questions, let me see, yep. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask in either the comments below or email me in the description. I have my email. I'd love to help. Thanks.